And I have no fancy intro. Geez, because it's only one topic. We are in the NHL All-Star break, so there's no games. It's NHL All-Star weekend. I don't know who cares about this. I don't even know who's on the All-Star teams. I guess we can look at it. The real news that I saw coming out, and I was just like annoyed at all the comments on Twitter by people that don't know anything. You don't know anything. Let's talk about NHL ratings drops. We're heading into the break. We should probably start reviewing, how teams are doing to this point and who's going to be buyers and sellers. And we've done a little bit of that. But if you are an NHL hockey fan and you're a hardcore fan, this thing came out that said, hey, NHL ratings this time last year were like 480,000 people a game. And, let's take a look at that. Mark Burns says, NHL US TV national viewership is down 22% this season. No kidding. NHL games to date have averaged 373,000 viewers on ESPN TNT. Here's your problem, okay? That's problem number one. Second season of league's 7-year pact with Disney and Turner. The NHL averaged 478,000 viewers at this point last season. So where were the games last year? The games last year were extremely hard to access, by the way. So this is even worse now. So just getting to the game you want is a nightmare, okay? Routinely, I go into the ESPN TV app or the mobile app, and what do I see? All I have told this app is I care about hockey, I care about the Detroit Red Wings, I care about, secondary, maybe the Edmonton Oilers and some other teams. That's all I've told it. It varies, by the way, the preferences. If you want to go in there and say, just show me ice hockey. Ice hockey. That's what they call it, ice hockey. It's not ice hockey, guys. It's hockey. There's no other hockey. There's field hockey. That's not hockey. There's ball hockey. Nobody's televising that. There's roller hockey. Nobody's televising that. And only Californians play that. If you play ball hockey, you're probably American. Got bad news for you. Although my friend said, hey, I'm coming to California. I'll bring my rollerblades. We can play hockey. Bring your skates, dude. Actually, he's probably much, much better hockey player than I am. I think he played junior. So here we are. And we're seeing this. What's the diagnosis? And I see ridiculous comments where people are diagnosing it. Maybe the worst one, well, not the worst one, but the one that's like so off base. This is talking about little things that the blackouts are actually a big problem. So I'm probably wrong. I said none of this is right, but really, the more accessible with no blackouts, that is a problem. I'm in, Newport Beach, California. I got the Anaheim Ducks. I got the Los Angeles Kings. I cannot see either of these games. I cannot get them. They're blacked out. Who am I most likely to watch? They can only fit 18, 20,000 people in those arenas. What are you blacking me out for? This is ridiculous. I'm going on ESPN and you're blacking me out. So valid. Avery, I apologize. You are correct. Point number one is correct. I will respond to that and say, actually, the blackouts are a huge problem, but they've always been a huge problem. Now they're worse because nobody has cable. Nobody wants cable. Why would you want cable? So that is problem number one. Agreed. Remove the usher. Nobody's not watching because of digital billboards. Nobody is not watching because the players don't have personality and adventurous fashion choices. What are you talking about? Hire a new TV host like Subban. The TV hosts are knowledgeable. They're already putting in, women and different people, different backgrounds to address, concerns by new viewers, because that's what the concerns are from. This is a very one demographic, hardcore fan base. It's people who play hockey generally. This is the fifth sport in America. Okay, like these numbers are paltry. So you look at the numbers, if the average is 370,000 for a game, okay, where is everybody? Well, predominantly this is dudes watching hockey, right? And without looking at, demographics of anything else, it's guys. Women account for like 37% of the audience, they say. and it's grown 26% since 2016. That's great. Women don't play hockey. And generally, people who watch hockey do kind of play hockey. In Canada, anyway. If you go to Canada, this is not a problem, right? The news, weather, sports, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is hockey. The financial news is hockey. In the United States is not that. It's football. It's like college football, NFL football, maybe baseball, which is weird. Basketball. Number one is like gaming, by the way. Gaming, people watching other people play games is bigger or as big as the NFL in the United States, and it's bigger around the world. So hockey really ranks absolutely, if you look at these numbers, ranks below NBA, and NBA is struggling. Okay, people are more interested, I bet, in college basketball. If I can't remember the numbers on college versus NBA, but I think it's bigger. So what's the problem here? Oh, well, you're not wearing you're not wearing yeah, like this is the point, Marco, right? This is not a Canadian problem, this is an American problem. You're competing for eyeballs. Where are the eyeballs? And how easy is it to watch games? Hire new TV hosts. Subban's fine. All the hosts are fine. And I saw people complaining. Stop. Number 5 is hilarious to me. The first person to stick up for someone is a hockey player. And the person they're talking about, all he said is, this is not something I'm interested in doing. And he excluded himself. Just like people that kneeled for the national anthem in NBA. No difference. People make their own choices, okay? Esports, you're right, Marco, is huge. Esports is bigger than all these things, but it doesn't show up in ratings, does it? Why? Where is it? It is on Twitch. It is on YouTube. Well, where do you think people are watching hockey? They're watching Hockey Nation Live. They're watching Gravity. They're watching people watching hockey, and they're chatting with each other. And they're watching somewhere the game, but a lot of times they're not even watching the game. They're talking to their friends like we do. So that is a thing. And let's not pretend it's not. The second is the discoverability of hockey is incredibly hard when you have ESPN. You used to be able to go to NHL.com because I would watch 3, 4, 5 games a night. I watch maybe 1 or 2 just because. And I'm not excited about it. NBC was doing great, right? And it was a terrible, terrible user experience, Marco. This was a horrible user experience. It was the most buggy BS app ever. It would show you commercials over and over and restart, and they would click up ads, right? They were blatantly bad. ESPN, you can't even find hockey. First off, the number one way to discover hockey was on NHL.com, and they had the streaming built right in. So and I could watch replays. So if I went here, now where is it? There used to be a watch button right here. And I know because I would subscribe to NHL every year. To subscribe to ESPN, I know somewhere I am paying for it bundled in with my Disney. And Disney has this problem, by the way. If I go on the Disney app to look for what I care about, which is not whatever they're showing me, it's a recommendation engine, and it's wrong. Because I want to go on Wednesday to watch the Bad Batch Star Wars. That's what I'm interested in. I don't care about Marvel. I don't care about Disney stuff. And it's showing me stuff it wants me to watch. It's shoving stuff down my throat. ESPN, same company doing the same garbage. Okay, so number one, I can't go here. I can get tickets. I'm not going to a game in this market. I don't live here. What am I doing? How do I watch this game? If you look at the prior version of this for years and years, and it was ahead of everyone. They moved to the Major League Baseball streaming platform. And then when they announced the Disney ESPN deal, they moved everything to ESPN. What's the experience? I cannot access a game I want to see the score, which the best box scores are on NHL.com. All the games are in one spot, and I could watch multiple games at once in different frames. If I turn away from ESPN, it freezes, by the way. But let's just talk about discoverability. Are the regional restrictions as bad in the US as Canada? Worse. I am in Orange County. I cannot see an LA Kings game. I cannot see an Anaheim Ducks game. Now, I don't necessarily want to see the Ducks because they're horrible, but I'm curious. I would watch them because they're close. I can go over the arena and see them practice. The LA Kings are a little farther away. I would watch the LA Kings every night. I have not watched one LA Kings game all year. It's always blacked out on ESPN. I use a VPN. I cannot get around it. Well, and then this is the other thing. The NHL Network broadcasts some of the best games. In order to get the NHL Network, I got to have, it doesn't show up on YouTube TV. It doesn't show up on Hulu. I got to go get another subscription just to even watch the World Juniors on Sling. This is the most fragmented user experience ever. It is disgustingly bad. If all the team games were on YouTube, everybody be watching it. But like gaming, because it's on Twitch and because it's on YouTube, that doesn't show up in ratings in sports. Esports blows all this away. It's bigger than NBA, it's bigger than baseball, and it's second only to the NFL, I believe. I think it's 105 million people watch games, and 130 million watch the NFL and other college football. No fighting and finishing checks, less interest in ratings. I don't think this is the issue. Because right now, it is definitely a softer sport. No doubt. And there's less logic to when guys decide to drop the gloves. It's very formula. It's like watching WWE. And when I see Carlo Koliakov, which we'll deal with in a second, comment on things, he's evangelizing the stuff that has nothing to do with when the ratings were good. The ratings were good before. Why are they bad? It is 100% because they went from a terrible experience with MSNBC, but at least I can watch the games and subscribe for $150 a year on NHL.com. I'm blacked out from all the local teams I care about. So that is correct, Avery, on Twitter. You are correct. I cannot access it, though, from the primary place. How do I watch this game? It is so difficult. Video is a bunch of junk I don't care about. TNT, I don't even know. I can't even see this. And ESPN Plus, let me tell you where ESPN Plus is. It is buried below ESPN. So if I go to ESPN Plus, and I'm, like I can't even get to it right now. It's opening in a new window, and it's opening a damn ad. Okay? So if I go to ESPN, you show me where the hockey is. I have told this app. I am logged into this app. Hi, Alan. Hi, Renaud and Marco. Thank you for joining. Bettman highlighted multi-platform as a big reason. They went with Sportsnet. Lack of suitors for U.S. market limited their options. So he's acknowledging this is a terrible user experience. They should have just kept it on NHL.com. VPN does not work. I'm telling you right now, I use VPN. I will say, you were right. Sometimes I can get VPN to work on ESPN to not block out local games. It's insane. Okay, so I am on ESPN. Where is hockey? Predicting every NHL. Where's the games? This is not even ESPN Plus. If I go up here and I search, so there, it's showing me a game. It's giving me a game cast. How do I watch my game? I can't watch my game. What am I missing here? The game. That's what I'm missing. So if I go to ESPN Plus, what am I seeing? I do not care about golf. I do not care about whatever this nonsense is. I mean, Manchester United, great. I do not care about women's basketball. And they are constantly showing me all this stuff. And I have set my preferences. I am logged in. The only hockey that appears here are games that I was watching like weeks ago. That's how long it's been since I've watched games. Is these games, Sharks and Detroit, Buffalo and Dallas. Is that a week and a half? No, there's been no hockey. The NHL Network experience is horrible because you cannot get it online. In order to get the NHL experience, I have to have a side subscription to Sling. And the problem with that is they put the occasional game on that is a premier game. I don't even know how to get TNT. Like TNT is a nightmare. Okay, so I am jumping around from app to app to try to find the damn games now. This is a nightmare. Try it on mobile, it's worse. And then on top of it, let's say I watch a game and I have multiple tabs open. You go down here and they refer to ice. I find that insulting. NHL is third in. Why? Don't you know who I am? You're showing me stuff constantly. If I go on here at any given night, this is the morning and this is showing me this stuff. If I go on at night, you know what's going to show me constantly? Women's basketball. No offense, I don't like women's basketball, college basketball. I don't care. I really couldn't care less. I care about hockey. And even if you let's show, how would I look for a game? So I hit browse, right? What the hell just happened? Here's now I got to go, like, am I not in the experience? I thought I clicked ESPN Plus. How do I see stuff that's live? So I go watch. It's not even games, guys. I have to go down to schedule and replays and then watch what happens. Basketball. So then I have to filter and find ice hockey. And then what is it showing me? Nothing. So I go replays, right? Nothing. Let's go to an old date. So it's hockey, guys, first off. If I go on any given date even, and I say ice hockey, a lot of times it's showing me college games. NCAA men's hockey is ahead of NHL. NCAA women's hockey, which I don't care about either of these things, is ahead of NHL. And then something called the Premier Hockey Federation. What the hell is that? Can somebody tell me what the Premier Hockey Federation is? Because I have no damn idea. What could a Bally Sports bankruptcy mean? Is there a bankruptcy right now with Bally Sports? Because Bally Sports, I don't even know how to get Bally Sports, I'm telling you. Nobody's on cable, and all the local games are tied up in Bally Sports. So I don't even think that's the issue, the bankruptcy. I think it's the normal garbage Bally Sports experience of how do I not get blacked out? I can't use a VPN if I have cable. I can use a VPN, but Sling's not stupid. ESPN, I can kind of get around it sometimes. You don't let me watch my local team. Imagine you're in Toronto and you can't watch Toronto games. I can't even find the LA Kings games half the time. Listen, this is the issue. Jeff, they're claiming it's all these things. It's blatant homophobia. It's you're not making women feel included in the game. You're not letting the players wear special outfits. These are the things that are being diagnosed by people and getting a lot of attention. Do you think that they're not featuring women as broadcasters? These are women that don't play NHL hockey, never have, and there's some really good ones. But they're getting gigs. They're on every broadcast. But the ratings have dropped. Not that that's their fault necessarily. Maybe it is. Maybe guys are tuning out and they're listening to their favorite guy on YouTube. And they're talking to their friends on YouTube. And there's no actual stream of the game. And they're probably watching it in an online experience and a fragmented experience behind a VPN just to get the game they want. So it's not just a technical experience. This is the user. This is the hardcore hockey fan. I'm a guy that would watch 4 or 5 games a night, 3 games a night minimum. It's so fragmented, I can never find what I want. I struggle. And then we go on the ESPN app. It pops up 5 to 6 options of which broadcast do you want to see. Thank you. This is the point. People, they're watching Coach Frenchie. People are watching Gravity, right? People are watching the hockey guy. And they're experiencing the game with their friends. And sometimes they're not even watching the game. And they're getting commentary from people that they relate to. So this, like there's so much nonsense, right? Yeah, the cold weather. So if you look at Carlo Koliakovo, let's look. Where is Carlo Koliakovo? I can't even find him. By the way, your discoverability ain't much better. There we go. And his diagnosis of it completely wrong. No offense, Carlo Colaiacovo. He played in the NHL a long time. But his diagnosis of it was all these things that have nothing to do. Wow. Yeah. Connor Bedard, by the way, another exciting player. Has there ever been more talent in the NHL than now? There's generational talent in the NHL. We are at maybe the greatest time ever in hockey. There's no problem highlighting the talent in the NHL. You don't not watch the game because the reffing sucks. These are the diagnoses that they're coming up with. The reffing sucks, so people stop watching the game. No. Do people stop watching WWE because of the refs? No, the refs suck. The refs aren't the game. Nobody cares. If anything, it causes controversy. So you look at what the diagnosis of, and I can't even find where his post is. How many posts do you have, Carlo Colaiacovo? Here we go. No rivalries, lacking storylines. Okay, so like this is a wake-up call. No, you don't know what you're talking about. Lacking storylines? When the ratings were good, did we have suddenly storylines and now we don't have storylines? No, it's nonsense, okay? More buzz around talk of trades than actual trades. Well, this is Canada where, the news, whether sports is hockey, and we're sitting there and everyone has a voice and people are engaged around trade rumors. So too bad. Poor marketing of stars. Hockey's a team sport, man. There's great players that get buried on bad teams. Right now, there's more parity in the NHL than ever. Kaprizov, McDavid, Draisaitl. These are great stories. Jack Hughes in New Jersey. So maybe you could do better with that. The Magic, the Bird era, the Wayne Gretzky era, but we had the dead puck era and ratings weren't bad. What am I missing? Too many math equations. Analytics are annoying, but it's not, people don't not watch games because of that. Some people watch games because of that and because of betting. Horrible playoff format. What's wrong with the playoff format? I will say when there was 24 teams in, cellmate Bubba, really? Go back to jail, Bubba. See, I don't think people stop watching because of the NHL refs. I don't think people stop watching hockey because of that. Should let the storylines be organic. Sure. I agree. There's good storylines in hockey, and it's not stories, it's the game, right? People watch hockey because they love the game. This is a great game, and we have great talent right now. Horrible playoff format. People don't not watch because of the playoff format. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what you're saying. This is nonsense, okay? If you want to fix this, number one, count where people are actually interested in watching the game. Put it on YouTube, ESPN. Have you ever tried to sign up for ESPN to watch games? Sometimes it doesn't even recognize you're logged in, and you got to go through this rigmarole and circle your nonsense. And it's trying to check your cable subscription. It's trying to check your YouTube subscription. And if you don't have those things, how do you watch it? Pretty tough. Okay, so discoverability is a big problem. I go to ESPN, it's shoving stuff down my throat that I'm not interested in. And I can't even get from ESPN to the ESPN Plus experience easily. And this is the main gateway. This is ESPN. This is ESPN Plus, which is a subdomain of this. And now it's showing me junk. Like, I have never once in my life watched golf. Have you? I have never watched women's basketball. I'm going to tell you that. But they're constantly showing me women's golf. They'll show soccer depending on the type of game. I don't watch football, really. Sorry, I don't watch Premier League. I watch hockey. This should be full of hockey. Prior games, upcoming games, features, whatever the hell it is. Know your customer. And then the whole fragmented experience with local blackouts, I agree. Avery hit that one on the head. That is a big problem. So you want a solution to it? The refs and doctors in on it. Refs are irrelevant. Refs don't even have their names on the back of their jerseys in hockey. Nobody even knows who the hell the refs are. Okay, they got 4 of these guys on the ice, and yeah, they screw up calls. Big deal. This is what you talk about storylines, where people are making a story out of blown calls. There's always been blown calls. The best, I can tell you, the toughest game to ref of all sports, it ain't baseball, it ain't basketball. NBA's corrupt. NFL ain't, it's not NFL. That's a stop game. Try reffing hockey. It's tough. Coach refs, ask coach. The NHL refs do a pretty goddamn good job. They break up fights when there's fights. They usually get the right call, and they have ego, and they try to do makeup calls. So there's that culture. Sometimes they'll put away their whistle in key games and let the players play. And the refs kind of change. The rules change game to game because the refs change game to game. That's a reality. If you've coached, which I've coached, and I'm on the bench, I ignore the refs. That's the best thing you learn, because when you pay attention to them, and this is the same thing as a fan. That's why I do power play penalty kill. And that's where goals get scored, right? On special teams. So what? There's penalties. Welcome, Baba. Listen, refs definitely have, the only ref people know is Wes McCauley. I would not be able to pick out Run with Kings Wes McCauley from an apple and a barrel. Okay. And I'm watching a game. I have no idea who the refs are. Do you? Nobody follows the refs. They're a blur. The reality is, this is a problem with ESPN. This is a problem with local blackouts. This is probably a problem with Bally Sports. And the fact that you, as a high consuming user of hockey content, can't get to what you want, and you're constantly shoved an agenda down your throat by Disney and ESPN, which is watch women's sports, watch this college sports. This is garbage. I don't want to watch golf. Why am I looking at golf? And this is my experience constantly, even when there are games on. It buries hockey. I cannot access it easily from the NHL app. I cannot access it easily from the NHL.com. And if I ever want to watch anything on NHL Network, I got to have a special subscription to Sling. Good morning, Habs fan. The NHL All-Star Skills tonight. Are you excited about this, guys? Penalties break up the flow of the game. I'd rather watch 5-on-5 versus a power play. There's not that many penalties, guys. There's less penalties now than ever in the NHL. Go look at how many guys in the NHL end the season even with 100 penalty minutes. If you look at the 80s and 90s, guys, the 90s kind of changed a little bit. Started changing then, because everybody knows you win and lose games on special teams. So if you look at penalty minutes, there's not that many penalties in the game, 4 or 5. A big game is 8. If you have 8 penalties, the coach is screaming at the players. The players are very disciplined. They play very structured game. Too many soft penalties. That is annoying, but nobody stops watching because of soft penalties. If you're a hockey fan, you might get upset at it. Maybe you watch it more to see what's going to happen. Maybe. West by look. I have no idea who the refs are. I got to be honest. Tim Horton pulls sponsorship from Hockey Canada. Well, there's issues with Hockey Canada that, have blown up, and they have all new leadership. So Tim Hortons isn't even a good place to go anymore. It's not even like what it was. So Tim Hortons needs to get its own act together. How many companies took that cue? I don't know. But Tim Hortons is, Wendy's. It's not even Tim Hortons. Is it Burger King? Burger King. It's not. Tim Hortons is not Tim Hortons anymore. Do you know Tim Horton was a great hockey player? The whole Tim Hortons franchise is based upon a legendary hockey player named Tim Horton. Now they grew after with, is it Chris Joyce or Bob Joyce? I think his name is, right? And he grew it was an ex-cop into like the monster it is. But if you go into a Tim Hortons, the Timbits, it's still big in Canada, but I mean, let's be honest. I would rather listen on 690 or Pierre than watch with my eyes. I think that is something to consider too, right? Like, what is it about the visual game? Is there a problem or no? I think people, even I look at games and I'm like, I'm not interested in that team, not interested in that team. And the teams I'm interested, I can't watch. I have to struggle to get Detroit games. I cannot get LA games. Like, why do I have to work so hard? It's ridiculous. Like, ice hockey. There's only hockey, cellmate. So I think the reality is this is much simpler. Now, the other thing to be, I don't think anybody even stops because of whatever they're doing on broadcast, whatever they're doing with special jerseys, and they're trying to appeal to new audiences by being a little bit like PC and woke, right on the NHL.com. I don't know. Do people stop watching hockey because of that? I really don't think so. Hockey is a very specialized audience. I think the first thing that, if anyone's going to be inclusive, so they're like, oh, it's a fun experience. So you see what they're trying to promote, right? That's great. Message of diversity, inclusion. You know who we want to play hockey? Everybody. We want girls to play hockey. We want women to play hockey. We want the women's game to succeed, but the women's game never succeeds. And it's not because of lack of money. It's just not that great. You want to see great hockey, go watch 15-year-olds in Toronto. The WHL, go watch that, or the OHL. That's great hockey. And we love watching US versus Canada women's games, but try watching versus Sweden or Finland or the next tier down. There's a big, big, big drop off. And I'll tell you, the US and the Canadian women are like super talented, but they're probably on level with midget hockey. That's just reality. So we want to see the girls succeed. We want more girls playing hockey, but not that many play. If you look at the breakdown, there's like 680,000 hockey players. And this is important. 680,000 players in USA hockey. I don't think so. I mean, listen, you always want to feature the great players. Are you not interested in watching Connor McDavid? Do you not look to watch Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl when they play for the Edmonton Oilers? Do you not look to watch Jack Hughes in New Jersey? I've watched New Jersey games just to watch Jack Hughes. But it's a good point, right? Like, you do need to feature these young stars, right? Moms pay the bills because moms, but not in hockey, 70, I think the number is, they say 37% of the audience are women. And it's grown since 2016. So that's good. Why are they watching? What are they watching? Are they, in what age they are? You'd have to really dive into that demographic. We want girls playing hockey. I've coached women's hockey. I don't know if they love me because I coached them tough and I made them work. And they just want to have fun and they want to be out with the girls. But, I also don't think they enjoyed losing. But there's good women's hockey players. Like, there's very talented women's hockey players. And, the WNBA has succeeded in spite of bad ratings and attendance. We had the WNBA Seattle team won the championship, and then they moved to our arena in Everett, Washington, because I work with the Everett Silvertips. There's nobody at those games. That was the best women's basketball team in the world. Nobody at those games, I'm telling you right now. 2,000 people, maybe, in a 10,000 seat arena. So the women's game has a long way to go, and just muscling in on the men's game doesn't solve that. And just giving the women money doesn't necessarily solve it. It hasn't solved it for the WNBA. We want to promote it. Excuse me. But that's not why people are not watching. They're not watching on the channels you're giving them. They're going on YouTube and they're following their favorite coach Frenchie and they're commenting with their friends, and sometimes they're listening to the game on 690. Right? They are. How you doing, THG? Do time zones have a lot to do with why people aren't watching? I don't know about that. Like, I think, again, this is a issue of, like, what games are you going to watch, Ron? You want to watch the Kings games. If it's blacked out, you don't get ratings. So blackouts are a problem. The ESPN experience is a problem. I don't even know what TNT is because I don't have cable. So I'm trying to hunt around Hulu or Sling if it's telling me on the NHL app, oh, there's a game on TNT. If my discoverability is a nightmare, which it is, the NHL app and the NHL.com website don't even link to the games anymore to watch them. And when they did, it would go to a general page on ESPN with a picture of Connor McDavid. Now they took away the watch part. Like, if you go on the Android app or the TV app, right, and you look for ESPN Plus, you go into the ESPN app, and it shows you content. Or you go on the NHL app on your mobile and you want to stream from the mobile, and you hit watch, it goes to a general page. I'm researching I just told you what game I want to watch. It shows you right here. Like if I go to NHL.com, this is prime real estate, right? I kind of look here, but I definitely look here. Where's the game? There's no more watch button on here. And when there was, it would go to a general ESPN page. So that is a huge problem. And I think you're overlooking, hey, Tyler, oh, Chanya, how are you? Drink warm water, it can help you. I just probably sneezing. I just came back from the gym. I wonder about your question. So Baron, listen, maybe. I don't think it has to do with ratings. I don't think anybody's not watching the NHL because of this. I think it's a ridiculous controversy and they're trying to, push an agenda. And maybe, I mean, do you stop watching hockey because of this? I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Hulu is a nightmare. How do you get Kings games on there? This is my point, unless it's a cable game. And it's always a cable game when they block you out. It is a nightmare. Like I have Hulu, I have Sling, I have YouTube TV. Why? Because of my hockey experience. That's the only reason I have those, because I get different games in different places. It's a total ridiculous experience. I used to give $150 a year to NHL.com and I could watch all the games and it streamed great. And I could watch multiple games because I could watch a main game and then I could have smaller games here and I could switch between them. Can't do that anymore. Now I go to ESPN and it tries to show me basketball. It tries to show me golf. It tries to show me women's college basketball, which I don't care about. And then if I try to search what's on, it tells me nothing if the game is over. I have to then switch the tab and I have to go to replay and I have to then search by ice hockey. And what does it show me again? College women's hockey, NCAA men's hockey. I don't care about those things. That's not a good game. WHL is better than that. Why is WHL not on there? Why is OHL not on there? That's a problem with the Canadian Hockey League. Get on there. That's better hockey. And then something called the Canadian Premier League. What the hell is that? Is that a 4-on-4 league? Of course, Baron, for sure. Because this was raised. If you look on Twitter, this is raised, right? Where they, you'll see women commenting saying, "Oh, it's not inclusive." It's like, what are you talking about? We have women announcers in a men's game all over every broadcast. We want women to play hockey. The problem with the women's game is it's always been fragmented and it's never been well watched and it's not even well attended. And the level of hockey is not that great. It's okay. And that's a part of it. But there's great women hockey players, and we want them to play. We want girls to play, but they don't really. Like I think 12 or 11% of hockey registrations in the United States and Canada are girls. And it tends to be more house league, right? Maybe. There's too many politics influencing, for sure. Yeah. This is it. How do you have the center ice package? Because does that even exist anymore? You have it on cable. But the center ice package used to be on NHL.com, which I would spend money on. It's just stupidity. They took the biggest check from Disney and ESPN. They're wondering why the ratings are garbage. Because the experience is garbage. They do, but they are a minority of fans. This is a very, very, very small fan base in general for hockey, right? If you compare it to NFL football and college football, is about 130 million people in the US. And we're talking specifically US ratings. There's no ratings problems in Canada. And there's no shortage of hockey accessibility in Canada. But there's definitely a shortage and accessibility issue in the US if you're a fan. So why? People watch football. That's the first thing they watch. They watch NFL football, 130 million fans. They watch college football, roughly around the same. Esports is roughly 110, 120 million fans in the US. That's not appearing on ratings. Why do I bring that up? That's bigger than baseball. Baseball is about 90 million fans. Basketball is about 60 million fans for NBA basketball and college basketball. And then you got hockey, and hockey's like 45 to 50 million. So, of that, about 30% are women. 70% are guys. And where guys aren't getting a cable subscription, of course I care about hockey. What are you talking about? I don't care about agendas, right? I'm not going to not watch hockey because of agendas. I'm going to watch the game. I'll turn the sound off. Of course. And this is a nightmare. That's the point. To get an NHL game is very, very difficult. It's blacked out on the ESPN app, which is the primary source. It's very difficult to log in and stay logged into the ESPN app. And the ESPN app is not ESPN Plus. So getting to the game from NHL.com is very, very difficult. Whereas before you just hit watch and you can watch your game. And then finding a game on YouTube TV, Hulu, Sling, and whatever else you got, very difficult. Yeah, I'm in Buffalo market. So what's it like in Buffalo? Canada really is just hockey. That's all there is. It's so easy, right? You can turn on TSN, you can turn on Sportsnet, even CBC has games. There's no shortage of news, weather, sports is hockey there. So it's much better. Right here, it is a fragmented mess. There you go. Well, I don't know. The game right now is way better than ever. It's pretty hard to dispute that if you're watching. The level of talent in the NHL is phenomenal. So yes, we should see better storylines around players. I get it. And that's not stories. That's just like, hey, who are the guys? Like Connor McDavid is like one of the greatest players ever. You're behind NFL, college football. You're behind esports because that's where guys are. And guys watch hockey and the guys are into video games. Okay, so you're competing for that time. And guys will play video games all, that segment, the hardcore hockey fan and the hardcore gamer, there's probably overlap more so than baseball. Who watches baseball? Apparently 90 million people. I don't believe that crap. Do you? Baseball's dead. NBA is not very good. NCAA's basketball is better than NBA, and I don't watch either of those now. And I grew up playing basketball. I love basketball. ESPN Steve G needs to do a better job, 100%. And this is the issue, along with Bally Sports and TNT. This is a terrible setup. It is a terrible user experience. The games are fragmented. You cannot access them from one point. When you go into ESPN or ESPN Plus or any of these other experiences, you are hunting and pecking for what you want to watch. And it is shoving down your throat other stuff. Do we have a lack of talent in the NHL? My God, no. We have young, talented superstars like never, ever before. And in markets, this is my point. Why should I have to? I didn't have to do this 2 years ago. I could go on NHL.com, click watch on the game, and I would see the game. Now, it takes me to ESPN. I got to go from ESPN to ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus tries to shove basketball or golf or Premier Soccer down my throat, even though I've set my preferences. To see what games are live streaming, I've shown you, it's terrible. Nothing like today. I mean, the game today is next level. As someone that coaches and played, and like, not that I play a high level, but I think more. If you watch NFL football, do you play football? But guys that play hockey tend to watch hockey. It's the most engaged sport of all of them. People watch NBA basketball, don't play basketball. People that watch baseball, I don't know who you are, but you don't play baseball. Esports plays. That's the whole thing, right? They play games and then they watch people play games. This is the greatest time ever. So there's no shortage of talent. Like, I'm looking at top scorers here. Jack Hughes, Jason Robertson, what a phenomenal story that is. Matthew Tkachuk, third generation NHLer from that family, the Tkachuks. Tage Thompson, are you not excited about the development of Tage Thompson? Like, that's a phenomenal player, especially if you're in Buffalo. See, this is my point. This alone is a mess. I have Disney, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, and I still can't see what I want easily. Nightmare. I'm jumping over. I have to get, in order to get NHL Network, can you get NHL Network on Hulu? I'm telling you, you can't. You know you can't. And then they put premier games on NHL Network. They put the World Junior Championships on there. They bury World Juniors on ESPN and like ESPN 3, and you can't find that easily on the ESPN Plus app. Well, they're both not great to me, but I get it. Our local channel shows the Avalanche is not free anymore. It requires a paid subscription. Thank you. And your team is the Avalanche. This is what I go through with the LA Kings. It's easier for me to watch Detroit, which I'm nowhere near, than it is to watch the LA Kings or Anaheim Ducks, which I'm much, geographically closer. The goalies are probably better than ever. There's never been goalies like this. Where there's a problem with Canadian goalies. But the goalie, like, when do you see goaltenders? Look at the goals against the top goals: 1.9, 2.2, 2, 2, 2. Like, this is phenomenal, right? And if you go to save percentage, there's never been goalies like this ever. You don't believe me? Get stats. Well, there was Tuukka Rask. I mean, what's better about the goaltending then than now? Very comparable. There's great goalies now. It's just the offense has gotten way better, right? Oh, Jordy Binnington was 1.89. Geez, no wonder he won the cup that year. So there's no shortage of talent. There's no shortage of great play. The MLB is cool because the technology is the same as when they started. Well, this is interesting you say this, Renaud, because the NHL.com app for 10 years was on the Major League Baseball platform before the ESPN deal. And it was a very good experience. I could click watch on the games, the score, and I would see the game I want. And I could watch multiple games at once, and then I would watch back-to-back games. It was very, very easy. I have all the streaming services. What are you talking about? I have all of them. I get every NHL game on Hulu unless it's a televised schedule game or on NHL Network. Disney has sports. Yeah, that's Hulu. No. ESPN is Disney and TNT. Yeah, and you're living in Utah. There you go. Dominic Hasek just had his birthday the other day. Happy birthday to Dominic Hasek, the Dominator. What do you think of the two Vezina favorites right now, Ullmark and Sorokin? That's a really good question. Let's take a look. Who's tops right now? I mean, Ullmark and Ottinger are interesting. Vanecek's done real well. Swayman's come back here, and Sorokin is excellent. Don't count out Shesterkin. Wouldn't shock me. But I could see Ullmark in there because he's had just a phenomenal year. I don't think that would be very, very short, maybe period of time. But he did have like 0.89, I remember, at one point. NHL has lost a lot of viewers, and that can't be good. Did they, though? I don't know if they did. I think that the NHL viewers are struggling to stay engaged the way they would want. And I think they're doing what you do, which is you go on YouTube and you listen to Coach Frenchie commentate on the game. And then you're listening to or watching the game through his eyes, and you're chatting with your friends like this. And you're meeting new people. And none of that is ESPN Plus. None of that is Hulu. None of that is on Bally Sports. You don't get any of that experience. So that's what's happening. I think that they're missing where the fan is actually, the male fan in particular is, that you're not going to stop watching the game because of shitty reffing. You're not going to stop watching the game because of whatever agenda. But you're going to go where your friends are, because that's like never before. And that's on YouTube. That's not on ESPN. And the discoverability is a nightmare, and local blackouts that are a nightmare. So you want to fix those things, you'll fix your ratings problem. But ratings are, are there less fans? I'd highly doubt it. All right. Anyways, I've ranted a long time on this. What do you think? Please, thank you for all your comments, by the way. I do appreciate it, and I don't mean to shut anybody down. Connor Hellebuyck having a phenomenal year. I think Connor Hellebuyck will be in the running for the Vezina. I think Sorokin maybe, but he might miss the playoffs, even though they got that Bo Horvat trade. No. Not at all. The pandemic wiped out a lot of attendees because of viewers. We'd have to check attendance. But I think viewership might have been higher during the pandemic for hockey. It was great with that expanded 24 team format. So I do like that. Hockey, I think no matter what, won't be as popular NBA or NFL. In the USA, I agree, they will not be. And they're trying to expand it by appealing to another audience that they think is women and other classifications of groups that are TV audiences. And I get that, but you're screwing the local fan. And you care about the team that is near you, and you want to see that game without having to go drop $1,000 to go watch an Anaheim Ducks team get its butt spanked. You want to watch that game without that investment. Why can't you? It's really hard. It's difficult to get these games. And you might be watching it, but you're not watching it through what they're doing ratings on. They're not rating the YouTube experience. It's a fragmented, terrible experience. So fix all that. The camouflage wife beater, like that, it's Tiger style, it's Wu-Tang. I didn't even shower yet after the gym. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Please comment, hit likes and subscribes. We will have Hockey Nation Live tonight with Coach Frenchie, I believe at 6 Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, live from Thailand. We have the skills competition tonight in the NHL. What do you think of the Bo Horvat trade? I am not sure about that Bo Horvat trade. You have 3 centers in New York now. What the hell are you doing? Who's playing wing? What you needed was a guy to play with Matthew Barzal. That's not Bo Horvat, unless you're going to put Bo Horvat on the wing, and that's not Bo Horvat's game. He is a second-line excellent center. And yeah, he can score goals. He can shoot the puck. Agreed. But Matthew Barzal has nobody to play with. Anders Lee scores what Anders Lee... You could put me on Anders Lee's line, and Anders Lee is going to score what he scores because he goes in front of the net. You can't move him. Brock Nelson is the second, like the best... Is there a better second-line center in the NHL than Brock Nelson? So why get Bo Horvat? And you gave up 3 assets. You gave up a young Adu Radi, who, frankly, I thought they reclaimed this guy. He looked very good. That makes no sense to me. There wasn't a cap space. I'm not sure. I'm not a fan of the trade, but I think they shift Barzy to the wing. That is insane. This makes no sense. What you needed was a goal-scoring winger for Barzal. Barzal is a great playmaker. He can score when he wants. He's a phenomenally high, talented player, and there's a gap between Matthew Barzal and everybody else, including Bo Horvat. There is nobody on that team that has the level of ability that he has. It ain't Oliver Wahlstrom. It's not Anders Lee or Brock Nelson. That's not their game. Zach Parise? Come on, he's ancient. What are you guys doing? This is a dumb trade. It makes no sense to me. You gave up 3 assets, a first-round pick, Adu Radi, who you got late. Yes, because they needed a second-line center. What are you doing? Now you're going to put Barzal on the wing with Horvat? Horvat's a second-line center. You're going to have Bo Horvat play number 1 center minutes, Brock Nelson play number 1 center minutes. You needed a high-scoring, talented winger to play with Matthew Barzal, and that's what you've needed for years, and you don't have it. And then you just traded 3 great assets. It's going to bite you in the butt. Like Beauvillier will probably go and he'll play very well. He's a pretty skilled guy. He's had a rough time, but he's buried on the 3rd line. You're going to put him in Vancouver. I bet he scores 20 goals. He's very capable of that. Adu Radi probably turns into a 45, 50-point second or a 3rd-line center type player. Big guy. He's really rounded his game out nicely. And then a first-round pick. So what's that first-round pick going to be? I don't know. It's lottery protected, so that's good. So it's not going to be a top 10. But I just don't understand this fit. Like, why would you say, get me Bo Horvat? Bo Horvat's a leader. Bo Horvat has 30 goals already. Great season for him. But I just don't understand that trade. It doesn't make any sense. 31 goals here. Nothing against Bo Horvat, but he's a center, and he's a second-line center. So that's my opinion on that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your comments. Please hit the likes and subscribes. I appreciate Baron. I appreciate Ron. I appreciate Steve. I appreciate THG. Bump, thanks for joining. And even our friend in jail. Who was our buddy in jail there? Cellmate or something. Oh yeah, Cellmate. Bubba. Good job, Bubba. Chania, thank you for jumping in. And then we had Marco early on. If I missed anybody, and RJ Calabro, thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the All-Star Skills competition tonight. You're going to see some great trick plays and really good players. And we will look forward to seeing you on the next Hockey Nation Live.